What is going on, guys? Sickness here. So today I have a very different style video than I normally make. Today we're going to be doing Chernobyl VR. The team that developed Chernobylite, the Farm 51, also developed a virtual reality experience about the history of Chernobyl or Pripyat, Ukraine. I will admit I'm using the non-VR version because I don't have a VR headset, but it still does the exact same thing, and I will fair warn you guys right now, I probably won't be doing a lot of talking during this. This is mainly going to be kind of a history / documentation sort of video, just watching, or listening to what the people are saying, because this is pretty much stories from people that used to live in Chernobyl or, experienced firsthand what happened on April 26th of 1986 when Reactor 4 exploded and the radiation just went all over the place across the city and caused everyone to have to evacuate, where the government was like, hey, you guys can come back in 3 days, don't worry, but you got to leave right now. Yeah, they got lied to and never could come back. But there's going to be some interesting bits of information, sides that you may not have ever heard about ever. So this is going to be extremely interesting, and as someone who enjoys learning about history, I'm excited. I will admit right now, part of the reason why I'm even interested in the history of Chernobyl did stem from Call of Duty 4, and you guys will recognize some of the locations from Call of Duty 4's all gillied up and one-shot, one-kill missions. It was all inspired by this location right here, for those of you that didn't know. So you guys can see that right here, obviously. But without further ado, let's jump into this.
Comrades, working people, Chernobyl is yours and your family's future. Come and let us build a new, better tomorrow. Every pair of hands is needed. Atomic energy is our future.
We experienced a great misfortune, an accident in the nuclear power plant in Chernobyl. The reactor number 4 exploded. The firefighting action continues. The zone within 30-kilometer radius is contaminated.
When we talk about the past or the future, you guys can see the Palace of Culture right there, we read our ideas about time into those words. Hotel Policia. But Chernobyl is, above all, a catastrophe of time. You can see the Ferris wheel right there. Now, for those of you, to get this out of the way really quickly, because I know that there's going to be some of you guys that, recognize this from Call of Duty 4, just to get this out of the way for those Call of Duty fans like myself. Palace of Culture, you guys remember that. It's just called the Community Center. Hotel Policia, right there. Doesn't seem like they have much information on that unless
Gliwice.
Is going to talk about that. And that is where you are sniping Kiev from that. Wow, my brain just slowed down for a second there to figure that one out. And obviously in the game, the power plant is in this general area right here, but in real life, it's way the heck back there. And the Ferris wheel is over here. Obviously, they changed, the way Chernobyl looked for playability, but I'm not going to get into anything more like that. You guys are probably here for the experience that is Chernobylite VR. So I'm just going to do a quick pan so that if you guys have any specific parts that you're interested in, you can check the timestamps below to see where you have to go to, to experience that. But the first one that I'm going to do
Community Center
is the Community Center. Let's do this.
In a minute, we are going to land on the main square in Pripyat, next to the energetic Community Center.
I'm just going to be referring to this as the Community Center from now on to make things easier, even though this is technically called the Palace of Culture. Alright, here we are. This is pretty much what it would feel like to stand. I've always wanted to go to Chernobyl. I know
Hall of the community center.
I know it's extremely dangerous, like, because of the radiation and all that, but still, this is really cool. Like, this is what it would feel like to be standing there. That's pretty insane. But man, this is cool. I mean, it's all rusted down and all. I mean, look at that. The murals on the wall, that's really cool. We got a guide right here we're going to listen to in a second, but yeah, wow. They have I never actually knew that they had a staircase that went down. I knew the staircase went up because of that opening right there. I just never knew it went down. That's cool. Anyway.
Guide. The energetic community center was the center of the cultural life of Pripyat. Almost all mass events were held here. Weddings, birth registration of newborns, wedding parties, party and union meetings, and numerous concerts. Back then, many people were coming here. The hall, which you can see now, used to be a disco club. A disco was organized at the weekends, as the town was full of many young people. The average age was 28, so the disco was always crowded. People had fun and felt good there. Sometimes I just want to believe that the social life there, in the next room, in the hall, is still ongoing. I remember very well the day when we first found out about it. It was rumored, as you could not talk about it in the Soviet Union. We immediately felt that this subject was a taboo. We seemed to find out about it quite accidentally. As I am from Lviv, we could listen to some European radio stations, so we heard about it just because Sweden released this information, and then it reached us as rumors. So my mom and I still remember how it was, just day by day. We learned about it on the 2nd of May 1986. For example, the tragedy occurred on the 26th of April 1986, and we found out as late as the 2nd of May. We were in Carpathian Mountains. We never liked attending those demonstrations, with banners of Lenin, "Hail to Communism." We never liked doing it. We escaped to Carpathian Mountains and were there on May holidays. So on the 2nd of May, we learned about the tragedy. We were together. My mom was with our friend. The four of us arrived to Lviv immediately. I remember that everyone was asked to do wet cleaning in the house every day. Only then doctors began to warn against coming out into the streets and about taking a lot of medicines with iodine. And I remember exactly that we applied iodine around our necks to prevent the radiation effect. And the tragedy? The tragedy is, and you realize it only now, that the Soviet system really neglected people, and not just Ukrainians. It is unfair to say that only Ukraine suffered, as the cloud went to Belarus. And the real contempt to people was that on the 26th of April, we learned about it on the 2nd of May. People knew nothing and no one told anything. Moreover, the information was banned. Firemen involved in the fire extinguishing at Chernobyl were not even informed about the radioactive explosion. They were sent to extinguish the regular fire. They were young boys. One of them, Volodymyr Pravnik, 24 years old, died. He died tragically. He received a lethal dose of radiation, just as many other boys, the first volunteers, who rushed to extinguish the fire. My mom can remember a lot of volunteers who rushed to save everything, to help and rescue people. The guy I mentioned was taken to Moscow. His mother had to go to Moscow, where she was told at the train, "You are not allowed to say anything here. You must be silent." In 11 days, The guy died on his mother's hands. So he was buried, and even his body was not taken back to Ukraine. That's how the Soviet authorities were hiding all the information. There were many victims, as this radioactive cloud was not like rain. It immediately spread over the large areas.
Але ніхто по сьогоднішній день так і не знає досконало багатьох речей. Всі ці злочини, вони поховані. Ми дізналися більшість,
The most of the information was only learned after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Since 1986, until the end of the Soviet Union, we could only guess and exchange the information between each other. No one knew what really happened. Moreover, people kept speaking secretly about the committed crimes and about the people who were sent to death.
That one was really interesting. A 24-year-old boy dead because of it. Wow. Just wow. Now, part of me wants to do the amusement park last just because that's pretty much the one that I'm interested in the most, so I think I'm just going to go in this order, kind of. But yeah, let's go to
Gliwice. One day when we came to the lab, it was on the 29th of April, we noticed that our detectors counted a lot of impulses. We were very worried and even scared that something had happened, an accident, that some kind of radioactive contamination took place in the lab. We couldn't figure out where it came from. It could be that our electronic system failed in some way, or our impulse registration system were broken. Different assumptions were talked over for a few days. It was only from unofficial sources like Radio Free Europe or Voice of America we heard about the accident in Chernobyl. Then we started to wonder what it was that our detectors really counted.
Alright, that one was a rather short clip, but still, that was interesting nonetheless. Let's move on to the flat. I feel like this one's going to be more... I feel like this one's going to be a little more interesting.
Pripyat was the most modern city in the former Soviet Union. The city was founded as the settlement for the workers of the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
I really like this, how I'm like flying above. That was really cool. Hello? Wait, what? What? I'm sorry. Am I Hold up. There's no way that this... No, I'm not accepting...
You are now in a typical flat of the nuclear power plant worker. On just a few dozen square meters, a family and social life was taking place. At that time, the flat was very comfortable. It indicated a high social status and was considered to be a luxury. Look around and find the interactive objects to learn more about the evacuation of Pripyat.
Alright, I see how they did this one. That is really cool. What do we have here? Just a broken... How does a toilet get that broken? My God. Can I jump in this? Nah. Can I run? Nah, I can't. Alright. What was that? Okay. Okay. I really want to take a look outside. Okay, we'll do that last. That's cool.
Attention, attention. Dear comrades, the City Council of People's Deputies reports on the unfavorable radiation situation in the town of Pripyat in connection with the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The party, government bodies and military units are taking all necessary measures. However, In order to ensure a complete safety of the people, and children in particular, there is a temporal need to evacuate the residents to settlements in the Kiev region.
Провести временную эвакуацию жителей города в пункты Киевской области.
To do this, today, on the 27th of April, starting at 2 p.m., buses accompanied by the militia officers and the representatives of the city executive committee will be directed to each residential house.
00 часов будут поданы автобусы в сопровождении работников милиции и представителей горисполкома.
It is recommended to take your documents, absolutely essential items, and some food.
Крайне необходимые вещи, а также, на первый случай, продукты питания.
The managers of enterprises and institutions have assigned employees who will remain in place to ensure the normal functioning of the city's businesses.
Для обеспечения нормального функционирования города.
All residential houses will be guarded by the militia officers for the period of evacuation. Comrades, as you leave your homes temporarily, please do not forget to close the windows, turn off the electrical and gas appliances, and close the water taps. Please maintain peace, self-discipline, and order during the temporary evacuation.
Wow. So that was the announcement that went out when they had to evacuate people. I never actually knew that. Like, I'd never heard the announcement, but you could hear it right there and then. They lied to him saying it'll be temporary, you'll basically be able to come back, and obviously that was not the case. Wow. That's actually insane that I got to hear that. I love that.
Most of the flats in Pripyat are empty. Single seats, sofas, and other furnishings were preserved only in few of them. When it became obvious that Pripyat would be a ghost town forever, several actions were organized during which the residents could take the most necessary things from their flats.
Alright, let's see how this is going to act, because that kind of looked like it was just a picture in the back to kind of make us feel like we were actually in there. But here's the real thing. Wait.
View from the roof.
Oh, the view from the roof. Okay, I'll look at that in a second. So this is what it would look like if you were outside on the wow. Okay. So obviously inside that was 3D scanned and recreated. That's what they were saying, you know, when they were kind of talking about this game before it released itself into pre-alpha, or before they released it into pre-alpha, they 3D scanned everything, and wow, it looked amazing. Anyways. Wow, this is the view. I mean, obviously we're a little bit high on this. I mean, we're kind of on a bit of a stand or whatever, but regardless.
Flat.
Wait, can I go back here? I can go back there and walk. Okay. Oh, there we go. That looks like that's the Azure pool. That looks like that's what it is. It's right in the... Wow. That is right in the middle of the residential area. Interesting. It's kind of... Is that... It actually looks closer to... Hold on.
Flat.
Let me see. I can't find it, but where is the what's it called? The Ferris wheel. I can't find the Ferris wheel here. Whatever. Either way. Wow, this is crazy.
Flat.
Alright, we're gonna exit and go on to the next one. Alright, just to make things easier on myself. But yeah, this is the part that was 3D scanned and recreated, or scanned and then 3D recreated for this. Like, that's what... Wow. That's crazy.
Kiev.
That
Community center.
That looked really, really good.
Hospital.
Oh, another one where we get to walk. Wow. This looks insane. Alright, let's listen to something while we walk.
The city hospital in Pripyat was one of the most modern facilities in the area. The complex could fit up to 410 patients, and it consisted of 5 buildings with multiple wards and 3 medical clinics.
Okay, I thought there would be more to that dialogue, but still interesting. Unfortunately, I can't go any faster, but I don't really need to. I mean, I'm trying to take it all in. I mean, this is awesome, you know. This is just insane. I can't tell if this is a mirror or if this is a window. Is there a way okay, there is a way. Let's actually listen to that.
Shortly after the explosion, 31 firefighters and plant workers involved in the extinguishing of the reactor were taken to the hospital.
I honestly thought there would be more dialogue to that. Let's see. Can I see out this window or no? Although I feel like it's just like an image thing or whatever. But still, this is actually insane, man. The insanity, like, the fact that this looks so damned good. That's how we get out. Okay. Wow. I'm kind of in shock right now by just how well this looks. Like, just how accurately and whatnot this was scanned and all that. Like, this is just awesome. I've always wanted to visit Chernobyl. I guess this is the closest thing or the closest version of Chernobyl I will ever personally witness, because I don't think I'll ever be able to go to Chernobyl. So this is the closest I will ever come to visiting it. And honestly, this isn't bad at all. I will definitely take this because, man, this is really awesome. What's this? Just the sounds, too. Oh my god. It makes me kind of feel like I'm here.
Despite the modern equipment, doctors were unable to help the injured firefighters. Very high doses of the radiation caused acute radiation sickness. One of the firefighters died shortly after arrival, and the rest were transported to the hospital in Moscow, where all of them died within 4 months.
Wow. Alright. You can hear that. It's crazy. I love it. Alright, next thing we have is the Minsk.
Minsk. For me as a person who is making this film, it is very important to know. In your Chernobyl prayer, you write much about time, the importance of time, about what is going to come, and about what has already happened. Please tell me, what is exactly a catastrophe of time to you?
Пишите о времени и о важности времени, о том, что будет и о том, что было. Скажите, чем именно для вас есть катастрофа времени?
Ну, катастрофа времени в том, что вот, например, чернобыльские тучи.
A catastrophe of time is that, for example, in 4 days, the Chernobyl cloud was already over Africa. That's the first issue. And the second is that there are a lot of radionuclides there. Some of them live 10 years, which means they are already dead, while others 100 years. And there are some that will live 2,000 to 3,000 years. And in terms of us, humans, it is a catastrophe of time. We cannot comprehend it. It's impossible to imagine how it is. And there are still hot particles that appear because some radionuclides connect with each other. These ones are eternal. Even people who will be just sunbathing on the planet Earth in this place one day, or they will build a new home in this place, as it always happens. The cemetery is ruined, and a new house is built in its place. And if this particle is raised up into the air, people will inhale it and get slowly destroyed. It means death. These particles are immortal.
That was interesting. I thought that was really cool, though. You could actually see some of the team members from the Farm 51. You could see Tatiana. I can't remember her real name. I'll put it text on the screen right here. Sorry. But we also had I'm not even gonna attempt his name because I know I'm gonna butcher it. But on Discord, it's Sato Commando. And then we had another one. I don't. Sorry, team, that I'm like butchering your names or just getting them wrong. But I'm trying my best here. But that was really cool that we got to see them in this. That was awesome.
Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
So here we are en route to the power plant. I don't think this drone is actually gonna go that far, but oh, that's interesting. I never knew the road actually stopped there. That's kind of interesting, actually. I never knew that. I always wondered how it, like, I knew there was a bunch of grassland, but never knew that it was just a dead-end road. Oh, don't tell me I get to walk. This is the coolest thing ever. I get to walk inside of a 3D rescan or a 3D scanned control room.
The control room of the RBMK 1000 reactor. It is here where the experiment of an emergency shutdown of the reactor number 4 was carried out. Find the interactive elements to find out what happened on the tragic night of the 26th of April 1986.
You got it.
The main reason for the explosion of the reactor number 4 was its unsuccessful safety drill. Poor decisions and faulty construction caused the reactor's power level to plummet to 30 megawatts. To correct this mistake, the control rods were removed. They were able to increase the power to the intended 200 megawatts, but consequently lost control of the reactor. Within 3 seconds, the power increased to 530 megawatts, and in the next 27 seconds to 30 gigawatts, which was 100 times over its maximum capacity. None of the security systems withstood the tremendous increase in pressure, which destroyed the fuel channels and the cooling system pipes. The melted nuclear fuel dropped into the water, which in 13 seconds caused a huge explosion of steam. As a result of the water electrolysis, another bigger explosion of hydrogen followed.
That was a weird sound, but okay. Let's take a look at what we have to see over here. Oh god, what did I do?
We are now at the site which is called a sarcophagus observation deck, or the new safe confinement. This is probably the most popular place for everyone who comes to the area of the Chernobyl power plant. And behind me, you can see the sarcophagus, which was constructed in a very short time, in just 6 months. The monument, which is located here, was erected in 2006, and it was placed there to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the launching of the construction of the old sarcophagus. It was designed for the operational term of only 30 years. But you can see that there is already the new safe confinement ready in 80%, which is going to be installed in a year or even sooner. And it will cover the old sarcophagus, which was built in 1986 by the construction management of the US 605 and the personnel of the Chernobyl power plant. And so it will be a landmark event, as it's going to be the 30th anniversary of the Chernobyl disaster. And all this time, Ukraine has participated in the rectification of the consequences at the Chernobyl power plant. The Chernobyl power plant is probably the biggest undertaking, with a huge number of people who participated in damage control and recovery. And everyone is looking forward to seeing the new sarcophagus, which will be constructed and put into operation. It will bring a second life to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Also, other work has begun, namely the work associated with the immobilization of the old equipment and the processing of radioactive waste, which will remain under the cover of the old sarcophagus.
Whoa. Whoa. This is crazy. Oh my god. I assume this is not a this is not a walk around, but my god. Wow. The destruction that happened here. Just I have no words, but wow. This is crazy. A little ladder right there, that's pretty cool. Man.
Chernobyl nuclear power.
Alright, now, I really quickly want to take a look before we go into that. Is there anything on this wall? Okay, I didn't think there was, but let's see what this is. Okay, I unfortunately can't read Russian. I can read numbers, 14.25. I assume these are all mathematical calculations of distances and whatnot, but, you know, don't quote me on that, because I got no idea. No.
Chernobyl nuclear power.
Okay, this is kind of cool. This is an interesting image. This is a dude chilling there. That's funny. Can't see the camera thing, which is funny. Pretty interesting. That a person right there, yeah? Wow. So this is, wow. This is insane. You can see it being built and all, like. Alright. Interesting
Chernobyl
stuff.
nuclear.
Oh. Wait, don't tell me. Oh my gosh. How free am I to walk in this? Because I know I can grab the exit from... Wait, yeah, I can grab the exit from anywhere at this point. But how far can I walk? And I want to know what is on the other side of this. Is there anything? And can I go up those stairs? Those are the questions. Actually, you know what? Let's just answer it from this one since it's right here. Oh my god. I'd laugh so hard if I could do this. I would no way. Oh, it trolls me. Look, it pushes me up and then it's like, nah, by the way, no, you can't. But yeah, that's just a picture in the background to kind of demonstrate. But this is... So this is what it looks like from this... I have never seen it from this perspective. Part of me wants to know... I wouldn't expect that I could get up there, obviously. Part of me wants to know how far over there I can go. Like, am I... Let's just answer one question first. Can I clip through that? I can. I know this isn't a game, and I'm probably on some sort of hoverboard or whatnot, which would explain why I couldn't, you know, get up there. But how far? Alright, so I did decide to walk the entire way. I wonder if I can even click it from here, if I just get it in the crosshairs, if I'll be able to. But this is what it looks like from the other side. I know that there might have been someone wondering out there, so I spent about a minute, maybe 2 minutes getting over here. Plus, you can see at that angle, or the angle of the thing from here. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, but, man, this is hella interesting. Alright, let's see if I can manage this, because I am very curious. This is going to be the longest grab ever if I can click this. Alright, let's see. I gotta look in really tightly. That was for my own curiosity at the end there, just seeing how like, close I'd have to get in order for it to actually register the click. But wow, that was the power plant. That was interesting. The next one we will do is obviously the village. Alright, next up is the
Parishi village. In order to understand how people had lived before and what happened to these houses which are located in Parishev, I suggest that you go and see a house which hasn't had owners for more than 29 years. Soon it's going to be 30 years.
This is kind of cool. It's a nice little basic picture, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless to see kind of how the outskirts and the less populated areas, I guess you would call it, are. Alright, well, I didn't exactly expect us to be inside of a house, but we have a walk around for it, which I think is really cool. You can kind of see what backyards might have looked like, I guess. I think that's what they were going for there, but... Oh, we have a picture of a person here. Interesting. Alright, must have been a person that lived here. So, this has to be a view from... Alright, so this is pretty much just a view of the exterior area, a little bit of a cleaner one than before when we were just on that little tripod or whatever. I mean, it kind of does look like a shantytown, I guess you would call it. I'm not exactly sure if that's the right terminology, but this is essentially what villages in Ukraine look like. Let's go back to the house now.
Tell us a few words about how you live here and about the year you were out. Indeed, we left only for 1 year, and then we heard the comment, go back home. We left everything and came back here. There were 140 people who came back to the town. There was a witness for each home. We were told, seize the...
Okay. I'm over here just mid-drink because I didn't expect it to cut off like that, but alright. Maybe that's all that video has for us. I don't know. It seems like it got cut off mid-sentence though, but either way. This is the village. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Let's see if there's anything more of this, or they're just going to send us to the next area. Alright, nope.
Community center.
So the village was fairly short. The next thing we have is Duga 2.
Moscow Eye.
Or Moscow Eye.
In a moment, we are going to land in the base of the strategic over-the-horizon radar, Duga 2, also known as the Moscow Eye.
So that must be like an interactive loading screen or something. Am I able to move here or no? It looks... I mean, there's no tripod that I can see, but the lights would indicate there would be, so...
Roof of the control room.
This is pretty interesting, though. We're going to have... We have some pictures up here with... What it kind of looks like a Chinese food restaurant sort of thing. I don't know. I'm probably going to get judged heavily for that comment. But, I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, the fact that they have this stuff in here... let's see. We have under the Moscow Eye. I'm gonna call it the Moscow Eye just because it's gonna be easier to remember, even though it literally says Duga right there. But either way, let's go to the roof. All right, so nothing too fancy here. Pretty cool anyway. Is that supposed to say training room with an N at the end? I'm not gonna judge it for that. But wow, pretty cool view. This is just like directly on top of the roof or whatever. But I mean, still, kind of just looks like you're out in the middle of nowhere. But obviously the Moscow Eye right there.
Training room.
Alright, next thing we're going to do is the control room.
Control room.
Whoa. Okay, that was tripping me out. Because it's like immediately pointing us at like a painting on the wall. Nothing too fancy here, it looks like, but it's still... Can I move around in here? I cannot. Okay. I'm going to have to check each time just in case. But... nothing too fancy here. But, yeah, overview of this area.
Training room. Top of the antenna.
In a minute, you will be standing on the top of the antenna. Have a walk, but careful. Rusty construction may be dangerous.
Yeah, that's the application itself freezing up like that. Oh, okay. We're just, I guess the drone's like lifting the camera up. Cool. I figured it would be pushing it up so that we'd be on top, but I guess not. I kind of like how we're going straight up though, so we can just get an overview. Though I think it might be a little bit cooler to have gone back a bit. And the frames are seeming to be fine for the most part. I don't know why it's chopping like that. It could have just been some... I don't even want to know. I don't even want to guess, because I don't want to be wrong. The audio seemed to have cut out for this. Not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I will say, though, that the whole village having that like video cut out was not a good sign. And now we have the audio. Maybe they just cut it out so we don't have to listen to the chopping the whole time. I don't know. But man, this is the eye of Moscow right here. It is pretty damn tall, man. Holy crap. And I like how each layer has like a platform that they can walk on, and you can clearly see the ladder right there. Does each one of these have a ladder, I wonder? I can't quite tell from here, but it looks like each one of them may have a ladder. That might be the ladder right there. It's hard to tell, I know, but still. How high does the ladder go? It looks like it goes to right about there, but then it stops. Okay, that was it for that. Alright, well, I guess this is what it would feel like to be on top of the Moscow Eye.
Control room.
I mean, it's pretty cool. You could probably just see for miles and miles. I mean, they obviously kind of cut it short in this, just for technical reasons or whatever. But this is still really cool, nonetheless, that we're at the tip top. I mean, this is basically what the city would look like from up here. This is actually really cool. How far can I go? I wonder if I can get up there, because you can't jump in this. So I'm wondering if they even let you go over there. Probably not, but we'll see. But man, nice cool view. I mean, you can see the road over there, the city. I mean, wow. I didn't think it would feel this high though. I mean, I knew it was gonna would feel high, but oh, I just actually went over that without even realizing it. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Right.
Control room.
Now we're gonna get the guide.
Сейчас мы находимся с вами на очень интересном месте. Это называется объект Chernobyl 2.
We are in a very interesting place called Chernobyl 2.
Есть такое популярное
Chernobyl 2, on the internet also called the Moscow Eye, is the biggest over-the-horizon radar in the world. The purpose of the radar was to detect that the strategic or ballistic missiles were fired. It could also detect the enemy planes of the strategic destination. It was built in the 70s and launched for tests in 1982. In 1985, it was ready to work. An elite regiment stationed here served mostly by the officers. The infrastructure was very good. A town for the officers was built, in which there was a community center, officers' flats, a big gym, a beautiful cinema, and a school. Nearby, there is the city of Chernobyl, and 10 kilometers away, there is the town of Pripyat. All the facilities were here, so that the officers could perfectly do their duties. After the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1986, the antenna was contaminated, secret devices were dismantled and taken away, and the staff was evacuated. Now the antenna is a monument of the former Soviet Union, to show that they could afford to build objects of this size. Let's go further to see another parts of the Duga 2.
Alright, that was kind of interesting.
Under the antenna. Training room.
Okay, another static image, I assume. Yep. So, I mean, would just be like, you know, a nice view. This is a nice view of underneath. I mean, nothing too fancy here. You can see the ladder. So they have multiple ladders, clearly, to get you up there. But, I mean, yeah. Pretty cool. Nothing really here. Just a vast amount of sand and dirt and all that. So, nothing too fancy.
Training room.
I know there's going to be someone out there that's like, oh, there's more to it, though. You're just missing it. I mean, personally, I'm not seeing much. I mean, I'm seeing this. I'm assuming this is part of the radar or whatever. I don't even know. But personally, I'm not seeing much in this. It's cool overall as a structure, but
of the antenna.
Alright, well, I think we're good on this one now. I think we can go back to the Pripyat area. Alright, now we'll have the scrapyard.
Scrapyard.
Alright, so it's just a bunch of, well, you guessed it, scrap. Not much here. Seems like it's more so just
trucks.
Some images, but yeah. I mean, this is just a bunch of vehicles that were just tossed out and abandoned.
Bulldozer. Back to Pripyat.
Yeah, not much to cover on this one, just some images. Nothing special. I mean, it's kind of cool, but, you know, nothing too fancy or anything. Alright, now we have
Kiev. Do you remember the 26th of April 1986? Was it an ordinary day or a special day? I remember it very well because my father was alerted very early that day, at about 5 or 6 in the morning, and disappeared for a few days. The next day, I remember there were no buses in Kiev. Later, we learned that the buses had been sent to pick up people from the villages near Chernobyl, in particular from the very town of Chernobyl, and to relocate them. I remember that time very well, as there were no information. I remember that 2 days later, my father returned and told us not to talk about it. It was a secret, but there had been a major disaster, an explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and that there were dangerous radioactive substances in the air. He suggested that we stay home, not to go out. But despite that, we went to school. They did off any activities. There was no official information, but many rumors. It was impossible to buy the train or plane tickets. There was a great panic. Everyone tried to get away from Kiev, to leave, because everyone was afraid. There was no information at all, but there were many rumors about what had happened there. Only then we got more information. I remember the 1st of May, Labor Day. Labor May. I marched among school children here along Kryshetsik. We were all marching, and I was holding the flag of the Soviet Union in my hands. We all had to march, we were monitored. I remember that there was an International Bicycle May holiday day, and everyone was saying, look, all the foreigners are participating in the competition, and everything is fine, it's all just rumors. I mean, we had no truthful information for a long time. I remember that time very well. My younger brother Volodymyr was sent to Azov Sea to a summer camp. I stayed in Kiev for the whole summer. My father spent all the time, the whole summer, in Chernobyl. He was an Air Force officer, and they were responsible for the evacuation first, then for the machines, and then they extinguished the fire. They had many tasks. Then, many years later, our family paid a great price for the amount of time my father spent there. We could consult the best specialists, physicians, who, having learned that my father was at Chernobyl, said that his cancer was 100% due to the exposure. Chernobyl was a tragedy, and there is no doubt about that. But could you think of anything positive from that time? Could you note at least one positive thing that came from this tragedy? Positive? What can be positive about this tragedy? Millions of people faced this problem. Thousands, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of children and people in general face the diseases. The number of cancer patients increased dramatically. Many children also had health problems. And knowing that Ukraine was not in a very good condition, no proper social protection, especially healthcare, so we are very grateful to the Poles, Czechs and French and many nations, countries that helped to treat children from Ukraine, Chernobyl children. They helped and are still helping to eliminate the effects of this tragedy, which still continues. The shelter construction is ongoing. We understand that it would be very difficult to do this without the international support. I asked about that because many historians say that the explosion at Chernobyl contributed to the collapse of the Soviet Union, and it was one of the causes of its breakup. Wasn't it? I cannot say if it was. I do not believe that the tragedy at Chernobyl resulted in the collapse of the Soviet Union. No, it did not. The Soviet Union had not been operating properly before that time. There were economic threats, and many mistakes were made, and one of those mistakes was the consequence of the inefficient system. But this tragedy, I am sure, had no direct influence on the collapse of the Soviet Union. You said that your father was involved in mitigating the effects of the explosion. Did he tell you anything about it? Do you have any memories of it? He told me a lot. It was a threat that no one saw. This threat was associated with the need to eliminate the effects of the accident, to relocate the people and carry out the deactivation. Those issues were paid a lot of attention. It was necessary to determine boundaries. Much work was done at that time, and it had to be done very quickly. Moreover, there had never been such a big problem in the human history before, so unfortunately many mistakes were made, and those mistakes cost people their lives.
That was actually kind of interesting. I really like the part where the guy was like, can you think of anything positive? Like, at all? And then he's like, positive? What can be positive about a disaster? I really found that interesting because I wanted him to come up with something positive right on the spot, but he was like, there is nothing positive about that, man. Like, how can you be positive about a disaster? Like, what? But, you know, there were some positive things that I picked up on. Not, like, greatly positive, but... Alright, next thing we have is the...
Swimming pool.
The Azir swimming pool. So this is what it would look like to be on top rafters. Alright. I guess I've always wanted to know. Oh, there's a door here. What is that? What does that door go to? I'm actually kind of curious what's inside of here. Because, like, obviously on this side is the pool itself. The pool is fairly wide, actually. Like, a lot wide, or a little bit wider than I thought. Am I on a tripod? I assume I am. Yeah, I am. Oh, so it's just, like, different perspectives. Okay. I mean, that's pretty cool, though. Would never, ever get to see the top of the diving board or the view from the top. I mean, I suppose if you just jump straight up, you could grab onto these, and then you could probably, like, if you were tall enough, obviously, and you had the, the high jumps enough, you could probably latch onto these and then, like, kind of Spider-Man crawl yourself across, and then just drop in for a nice long fall, but,
Jim.
Anyways, wow. You can't really see too much outside, because it's kind of too bright, and I think they did that on purpose, to keep your focus on the pool itself. But you see this in games like Modern Warfare, and then PUBG has this pool. I don't know what other games do, but yeah.
Gym.
Alright, let's see what's in here. Ah! Okay. This is pretty cool. This is like a smaller gym. Alright. That was a pretty quick one, just like the scrapyard was. Next, we have School NR3.
Elementary School number 3.
Number 3.
In a moment, we will land at Pioneer Square in front of the elementary school number 3. Nearly 2,000 children were studying here. It was the most modern of all 5 elementary schools in Pripyat.
Oh, okay. We got a walk around. Interesting. Haven't had one of these in a minute. You look outside and it's just a bunch of grass and trees, some buildings.
Indoctrination was a crucial element of the education. From early on, children were taught about the creators of communism, the leading role of the party, and the foundations of the socialist society. The teachers instilled a total submission of the individual and the collectivization of the actions. Such classrooms were indispensable in all the republics of the Soviet Union or the countries of the Eastern Bloc, such as East Germany or Poland. Walk around and learn more about the education in the Soviet Union.
Pretty cool. Once again, just kind of the same thing. I guess they just duplicated it from one side to the other, but either way. Wow. It's hella worn down. Alright, that was really cool. I didn't expect a video to be playing from within these things, but that was actually really interesting to listen to. And that was cool that it kind of popped up like that. But yeah, this is kind of just what it would look like in the schools. I mean, let's actually see if we can do this real quickly. I was the type of kid that always sat in the back, just quietly. So this would be my view right here. I would just be chilling right here, just sitting down, listening to the instructor and just taking notes, and then probably getting on my phone because I'd get bored halfway through the class, yeah.
The evacuation of Pripyat still remains controversial. It is believed that the permanent displacement of the population was unnecessary, and the radiation level in the city is lower than the background radiation in some inhabited parts of Europe and the world.
Let's see what time it is. I can read analog clocks, but it's kind of impossible for me to read an analog clock that only has one finger, or whatever that's called. Either way. Wasn't there... I want to look, but at the same time... You know what? Yeah, let's just do it. I'm assuming we can go back. I wanted to explore more first, but I believe we can.
Meetings, concerts, and artistic work reviews, as well as the whole school's cultural life, took place in here. In fact, every day various groups held their meetings and rehearsals here. As you can see, there's a stage and a grand piano for the accompaniment. It's a standard stage in each school in Pripyat. I suggest we go to the next hall.
Okay, so I guess... Okay, kids, you shouldn't be in school right now. I'm over here trying to find the source of the sound. What is this, Harry Potter? Is there like a secret door that I don't know about? Okay. I see how it is.
В 1976 году мои родители приехали в город Припять. Это был новый город энергетиков, который строился, скажем, для людей, которые будут обслуживать и работать на атомной станции Чернобыльской. Значит, на тот момент мне было 4 года, то есть я был маленький. Вот мы прожили в Припяти до 1986 года, и на тот момент мне было практически 12 лет. Да? То есть жили мы счастливо, очень красивый город, новый, молодой, много там, развлечений, школы, бассейны, то есть лес, речка. На море ездить не нужно было, это было все вот прямо рядышком возле дома. Значит, когда случилась авария в 1986 году, для нас был это обычный день, мы все пошли в школу и уже в школе узнали, что что-то случилось, нас не выпускали из школы, мы все до обеда находились на уроках, нам давали какие-то таблетки, какие мы не знали, мы были дети, нам давали, мы их ели. Да? После уроков, где-то часов в 12, может быть в час, нас отпустили домой, и все, и мы были сами себе предоставлены, сели на велосипеды и поехали по городу, ближе к станции, смотреть, что там произошло. Нас, скажем, возле железнодорожного, скажем, вокзала дальше не пропустили, потому что военные стояли, уже вертолеты летали, уже БТРы ездили, то есть уже это было военное положение. Но детей никто не трогал. Вот так мы прожили 2 дня, и бегали, и гоняли мяч, пыль поднималась и так далее. На самом деле никто не знал, насколько это тогда было опасно, да, потому что уже сейчас я понимаю о том, что прогулка просто по траве могла стоить жизни, и это так и было. Масса людей, которые к нам обращались, они все имеют определенные заболевания, связанные с облучением, с лучевыми болезнями. Да. Это очень страшная, невидимая болезнь, которую не видно, никто не знает и никто не понимает, как с ней бороться.
All right, I'm gonna be completely honest. I was listening fairly intently, but I had no idea what he was saying. Yeah, I assume so. Okay. I assume some of you guys that are watching may have had a clue as to what he was saying. I am so half tempted for that thing, or just half like expecting that thing to just turn around and look at me. Wow, the fact that it didn't. I've played so much Chernobyl already that I'm just expecting those dolls to just turn around and look at me and be like, "Hey, I'm watching you." The letter A. I really want to learn Russian, because then if I learn Russian, I can come back into this. Like, if I learn the Russian language, I can come back into this and actually be able to read what half of these things are. Just a nice little breeze. Nice. I expect there to be one more door before I get to, you know, walk out or whatever. Yep. Is there anything in here that's going to play? This time it's just an audio.
Mathematics was the basis on which the technical development of the Soviet Union was built. As early as primary school, the smartest pupils, supervised by their teachers, developed their skills in sciences. The best of them attended secondary schools and later went to renowned universities to become scientists or engineers. Nevertheless, it did not prevent the Russians from building a malfunctioning nuclear reactor, which construction was based on the solutions designed for the production of mass destruction weapon, not civilian applications. If you find an entrance to the long corridor, you'll get to know the history of the Cold War.
Alright, good to know, good to know. Alright, let's go out here. Whoa! There is quite a bit here. Can I... No, they blocked it off, dang. I wanted to know what... I bet you there's a glitch or something for that. That'd be hilarious, right? Just to glitch in a non-VR VR game or experience or whatever. That'd be funny. But, it's a pretty nice long hallway. Let's hear what this has to say.
At the end of April 1986, shortly before the catastrophe, the whole city was preparing for the International Labor Day. As usual on the 1st of May, a pompous march was to take place to honor the working class of the Soviet Union. Nowadays, few people may remember that it was established in 1889 by the socialist parties of the United Kingdom, France, Germany and Belgium in memory of the bloodily repressed workers' demonstrations in Chicago in 1886.
The reason why I was doing what I was doing right here is so I could see, because you can see the reflection of it right there. So I'm curious to, yeah, the reflection kind of chimes out there. But I was very curious if I highlighted it here if it would reflect the white on that, but either way.
Shortly after the Second World War, in which the USA and Western countries fought against the Soviet Union and the countries of the Eastern Bloc, the Cold War began. It meant a rising tension between the USA and the Soviet Union without direct aggression from any of those countries. It led to the arms race and the large-scale production of mass destruction weapon. The fallout shelters were built, and every public, including schools and kindergartens.
Yeah, as I probably put a note on the screen there, that wasn't my end. That was not my computer, my application doing anything crazy like that. Oh, let's see if I can make it reflect here. Oh, that's kind of cool. It actually reflects the white on the window right there. You can see it right. You can see the reflection right there. Watch. It's kind of cool. But yeah, that was not me, not my application. That was the actual like the in the application itself, whatever. Like I was listening to it bugged like that. So don't worry. All right. For some reason that took a minute to load. I assume there's a lot to look at here though. Let's see. Nothing too fancy to see. I mean, we can just kind of see the background over there, but I assume that all these rooms are the same, so there's really not going to be a need for me to pop into each and every one of them individually. I just kind of wanted to walk in there and see what it would feel like to be in a room for a second. Oh, hey, doll, how are you doing? Hey, look, these are the same exact books they had we just saw a minute ago, and the same doll. Pretty cool. Doll's leg and whatnot. Okay. Same things again. Alright. Is this a gas mask? It is. Cool. I hear the wind blowing and all. Man. Cool stuff. I really do like and appreciate the fact that they actually went in and 3D scanned it and then recreated it as accurately as possible for this experience. Because it kind of gives you the feels. I mean, to be fair, a lot of games do realistic, okay. A lot of games do realistic graphics and whatnot, but, you know, this is obviously 3D, like, scanned or whatever, so that's pretty cool.
It's a different place. This is a gym of the school number 3.
Здесь проходили
Various sporting events were held here.
спортивные соревнования. Здесь каждый день проходили
Every day, physical education classes were carried out.
было заниматься
Children could play football, basketball.
Тут даже были такие, знаете, как трибуны,
There were even
где
some sorts of
студенты
stands where students
поболеть
could
за
cheer on their
своих,
teams and their
своих
rivals
команд,
as well.
и за своих соперников в том числе. И всегда было популярно,
And it was always popular.
что занятия там футболом,
Football, volleyball,
баскетболом —
basketball
это одни из
were
самых
one of the most common
распространенных и
and popular
популярных
types of games that were
видов
practiced in
игровых,
all
которые
schools.
практически были во всех школах, и проводились только и такие
Not
городские
only school, but also the town
соревнования, и
competitions and
мероприятия.
other events were held here.
Школьники
Afterwards,
были,
students traveled to
ездили
Kiev,
в
the
Киев
province,
и область,
and other regions of Ukraine.
регионы Украины. Но идем
Now
еще
we
в
will see a
другой
different place.
Alright. Interesting. I assume that this was it for the school area. I hope I can just... Yep, you can hear them cheering on. I assume that this is it for the school number 3, though. I assume we're going back to Pripyat and going to the final destination, which is the amusement park. Yep, so the last place we have is the amusement park.
Prepare for landing at the amusement park. Shortly after the catastrophe, this place was an airstrip for helicopters participating in removing the effects of the reactor's explosion.
Alright. Nice. This is actually a view from inside of it. This is actually kind of cool. I mean, obviously it's destroyed like hell, but I mean, we're so up close and personal to it. This is what it would kind of feel like to be inside here. Just like I'm trying to imagine what it would be like, though, to have other things around and have people just in the area, someone in there operating it. It's kind of cool just to imagine, like, you know, the life that was happening here at the time, because this was a short-lived amusement park.
Guide.
1 мая 1986 года
On the 1st of May 1986, the town was supposed to host a significant event. The town first amusement park was going to be opened.
парк аттракционов. Для такого небольшого города,
I believe that
который
for such a
имеет
small
уже
town,
достаточно такую
which already had
инфраструктуру,
a solid
открытие
infrastructure,
такого парка,
the opening of the
я
park
думаю,
was
что
very
имело большое
important,
значение, потому
also
что
because there were so many children in the town.
и, конечно, в
And of
субботу,
course,
воскресенье
on
прийти
Saturdays and Sundays,
покататься и так
people
далее.
would be
Здесь
able to just go there and have fun.
колесо обозрения,
There was a Ferris wheel, swings,
карусели,
roundabouts,
и даже
and
мост,
even bumper cars, which you can
которым
drive
можно было
and bump into
покататься,
other cars.
подталкиваться и так далее. Вот. Ну и
There was a
где-то
center
вот
nearby,
центр, где
where
можно
people
было
could
зайти,
go and have a
выпить кофе,
coffee,
может быть,
a
даже
snack,
что-то
or lunch,
перекусить,
or spend a good
пообедать,
time with their
и с
kids.
детворой просто хорошо провести время. Но
But the
26
tragedy of the
апреля
26th of
и
April
27
damaged all these plans, and on the 27th of April, the entire town was evacuated.
всё, что осталось от этого
Right now, we
автобуса.
can see all that's left of this.
Kind of feels like that was cut off, just like one of the previous ones, where I'm not sure if there's just some bugs or whatever in this non-virtual reality experience or not, but that one just felt like it got cut off. But either way, this is the bumper cars, man. Pretty cool. I've seen pictures of this, and, you know, it's kind of cool to be inside of it, see an image from inside of it.
Back to Pripyat.
So, okay, I didn't expect this to happen. This is actually really cool, though. This is really cool. Like, different perspective on it, and we can kind of, we're pretty much going up and above the Ferris wheel. Pretty cool. But yeah, you can see the Palace of Culture right there, I believe. Looks like that's the Palace of Culture. But I mean, overall, this was a really interesting Chernobyl experience. Alright, so that's going to conclude the VR experience for Chernobyl VR, the non-VR version though. I will give some feedback on this. As much as I enjoyed this, and trust me, I did, because it was very fun to, you know, hear the different stories from different people. And I really liked that part where the guy was like, so, can you think of anything positive? And then he's like, positive? What could potentially be positive about a catastrophe? I loved that part. But as far as feedback goes, like I said, I would definitely look into fixing the audio and visual bugs, basically in the village where we were listening to that man talk and he just got cut off randomly. And it seems like it happened at least 1 or 2 more times in other parts of the experience, which really sucks because I was enjoying listening to that stuff and then it just gets cut short or whatever. So that sucked. And then that part, I think it was in the school where the voices went all, or the voice went all robotic-y and it was kind of hard to understand what he was saying. But other than that, there really isn't much you can fix about this. I mean, it's a VR experience. It's not really a game. So fix those 2 things and you're pretty much golden. As far as things that I may like to see added in the future, the only 2 things that I can think of off the top of my head at the moment would be the Hotel Policia, maybe some pictures. They did the junkyard in just pictures. There was no walkable environment, but they did pictures, which was pretty cool. So maybe some pictures for Hotel Policia. Maybe even a 3D scanned environment of that where we could walk around. I don't know. Or even maybe a story from someone who spent time in Hotel Policia. I don't know. I just think that it'd be really cool to be able to visit Hotel Policia since it is a well-known place of Pripyat, Ukraine. And the only other place that I would like to see added, they're adding it to Chernobylite, but the Red Forest. Again, even just pictures would suffice with some little knowledge or whatever. I just think that adding some new areas would be cool, and if people access the Chernobyl VR in the future, and they want to, and then they may have seen this video or other videos that have done the same thing here, that maybe, they want to check out some new areas or hope that there's some new areas, so adding new stuff like that would really be awesome. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, and if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, though, thanks for watching, and bye-bye!